Sometimes my heart dances with good thoughts or no thought at all, and sometimes I am in fear. Why must I respect these childhood ghosts when I can laugh with you and be here? This ghost is just old habits, and they are similar with everybody. But the new habit of keeping still and no thinking of the ghost is rare, because everybody thinks of their ghost and ends up living a miserable life. And they actually prefer this. You have to do otherwise. I want to laugh and be happy and be free of ghosts. Ghosts are just concepts of the mind. Actually, there are no ghosts. From the beginning, you are divine and you are not born to suffer. Since I was a child, fear is a problem which takes over regularly, even though it is clear that the fear is a thought only. Is it possible that one thought can be stronger than another? You are right. Some thoughts are weaker and some are stronger. If you say, I want this or that, it is a weaker thought. If you say, I don't want anything, it is a strong thought. Then you analyze which is a stronger thought. If you think that you want to be a person, realize that person will leave tomorrow, and you will then be in trouble. So weak thoughts like this will give you trouble, and actually any association will give you trouble. This is the experience of everybody in the world. Wherever there is any association, there is suffering. When you are all alone in sleep, you are happy. But the next morning you are in trouble because you want to be with people. So you must choose between a stronger thought and a weaker thought. How is it that though I love you so much and you love me, I have so much fear of being naked without protection in front of you? When you have bliss within yourself, you love yourself and everybody else. This is Atmananda. If you have fear, it means that you are not turning your mind inward to this. Fear only comes when the mind is turned outside on some object of the past. Your fear is simply fear of the past. You can find this out for yourself by noticing that when you have fear, that there is some involvement with a past affair or circumstance. If you do not look into the past, you are here and now. Then you will dive into the bliss of the self. When the mind goes to the past, check it. If you are not successful, again check it. Bring the mind back and just watch how it drifts to the past. Mind means past. Mind is thought, and thought belongs to the past. But in the present there is no thought, only happiness. Just look at the mind and do not let it go back to the past. In the beginning it may trouble you, but later it won't. Mind is like a bull which goes and grazes in the field of other farms. There it gets a beating until it returns to its own fields. It doesn't understand the beatings and continues to go to the other fields, and so it continues to get beaten. After receiving many complaints, the farmer finally ties the bull up in the barn and feeds the bull in there. But when he places a bushel of feed in front of the bull will not eat it because there is no one to beat him. Like this, our mind will not listen, but will go time and time again to be beaten. So this bull doesn't eat for a day, for 2 days, for 3 days. After the 3rd day he is very weak and hungry and starts to eat without being beaten. Eventually he feels very good, and the farmer no longer has to keep him in the barn. Though the bull is no longer bound, it no longer strays around. The bull knows that it is very well fed at home and doesn't go out to be beaten anymore. So if the bull is controlled, let him go wherever he likes. But actually he won't go anywhere. Fast the mind of thought with the strong decision. I will not go back to the past, and bring it back to the present. This is an affair of 3 days. For a few months while sitting in Ramana's room, I was given the grace to know that I am that I. Then outgoing mind took over again. I am that I is a good experience, but how long did you keep it? Why did you reject it? Was it not good? The experience was perfect. Is this not enough? It is not good enough for you, sitting in the room of Ramana Maharshi? It is the highest truth, the highest experience. Then why did you leave it? Why did you reject this moment? Because I am scared to totally disappear. This fear comes after this moment, after you have rejected the moment. It doesn't come during the experience, during the moment. Why did you reject this moment if it was so good? If you find a diamond, will you take it and throw it into the river? A diamond is a diamond in this moment. In the next moment, it is also a diamond, but you won't find it again if it is in the river. I rejected that moment because I chose something else, and I wrote this letter to you to ask for your help. I want to stop choosing other things. So you reject the diamond for something better. It is not better. If the distraction was not better, then why did you throw the diamond away? I cannot throw that experience away because it is who I am. I want to offer who I am to you right now. If you know what you are, why do you care about what you are not? Never before did you know what you are until grace took you to a place where you can find what you are. The matter should end there. Suppose you are in the honeymoon chamber with your bride. Do you think of some other girl then? What will be the result of this? No marriage. In this way you will spend your whole life searching for your bride, but you won't find her. This is what happens with everyone because every day this experience comes to them, but everybody rejects it. Reject your doubts and experiences will come to you. Then it is better for you to hold on to it. When you have no doubts, you are in peace and in love, and you are that. I found myself in such despair because my ego had won. The ego is always winning, and you lost the chance to defeat it. Can't you just take your sword and cut it to pieces? I only have a week left in my stay in Lucknow, and I don't know that I will ever be able to return. Please destroy me. I know there is nothing real which can be lost. You have a great desire to destroy your ego, but in the same breath you threaten to leave here next week and not return. Do you know what your planning is? It is the ego waiting outside the door, allowing you to come and meditate, only to take you again to the moment you step out. This will not do. Have you heard the story of the king who went to see the saint? It is exactly like you. I told it recently, so you must have heard it. The king with his royal ego goes to see the saint, but is kept waiting until the ego is destroyed. He could have gone in immediately to see the saint, but his king ego stopped him. The saint knows no difference between the king and the farmer. So if you want to see the truth within, you must instantly rush inside. Don't wait. Don't even meditate. Rush inside now. Don't even close your eyes for meditation. Simply rush in and find where the ego rises from. Beyond this, there is someone seated who is waiting for you. When the time comes, don't miss it. It may not come again. This 1 second is enough. So your hitchhiking from place to place is not needed. Stay wherever you are. It takes no time, because it is not available in time. If you speak of time, you don't get it. No time is available to you with every breath. You can find yourself at that time after inhaling and before exhaling. How much time is there before exhaling and after inhaling? What could you possibly want in this moment, and what meditation could you do? This instant is the time of peace, and here you can find yourself. Sometimes I feel this fear keeps me imprisoned. Whenever you keep quiet, there is no mind. But the mind continues to call you to go off with it because many times you have befriended him. But now you have to decide not to listen. But this mind is in love with you and encircles you, and you are in love with him. If you don't break the relationship, you will always suffer. So be brave and decide that this time you will have no relationship with the dead persons. This is the decision. This life, I have to be free. This is your first satsang. You have done very well. At least you have a strong desire. I understand what you say in theory, but in my life there are still the same old patterns and habits coming to the surface. It is almost like I fear love inside. Can you help me? If you try to understand, it will not work. You have to have experience. And don't just listen to the words. Don't just hear the words or understand what is spoken. You must have experience. You have to have a deep experience. If I say go dive into the ocean, in theory you understand this, but you have to understand this. You have to have an experience of quietness so that no other thought is arising in your mind. Look at the thought that is arising, go to the depth of it, and the thought will vanish. Theory will vanish, and you will have experience. I have had experiences, but when I go back to Denmark, this experience can go back to Denmark? It has to stay with you. The experience is that you are free. You have to stay with it. How can it go anywhere? So you have not to experience it. It is only theory. I am free will always remain with you when you have an experience of freedom. Will you help me get this experience? Why aren't you getting it? You must be holding on to someone in Denmark. When you are here, you must cut all your relations and keep quiet for just 1 second. 1 moment. This is how to get it. Don't think of anyone else. No person, no thing, no concept. Just for 1 instant. And then in this instant you will have the experience which will last forever. I hope you can give 1 second to your own self. You have given your life to others, but now keep 1 second for yourself, and that will be all. You always have the experience that I belong to him, but for 1 second get rid of all relationships. Without it, nothing will happen. Just as in sleep, you break off all relations with everyone for 5 or 6 hours. You don't even relate to yourself when you sleep. You have no relation with body, mind, senses, or objects. So you can do it for 1 second while awake. Do you understand? Yes. In theory or practically. I want to put all my fear at your feet. In the dream you face dream tigers and feel dream fear of them. When you are awake, there is no tiger and no fear. Facing all circumstances will remove your fear and is service to the divine. Whatever comes in front of you, accept it, like the wind blows, but does not stay at one place. This is divine will. Go everywhere like the wind. Don't stay at any place. The cessation of objectification. Why objectify God? Subjectify that. Go straight to the light. Immediately jump into it and don't write an article about it on the way. Keep quiet. Entertain no doubt. Raise no desire. Remove all objects and remain as that. All pain belongs to objectification. Do not let ego own freedom, so do not objectify the truth. Do not call it a game or an acquisition. Simply identify with it as you do when you see your face in a mirror. Forget this visitor called mind and just identify as that. You can only experience what you are not. Only transience can be experienced, because the experiencer itself is transient. So give up the notions of experience, name, and form. Don't touch name and form. Just watch. Utter eye, and all objects are there. Look at the eye, and everything dissolves. Let the eye look at the eye. Inquiry is to first objectify the eye, the experiencer, and then to look at the subject who has objectified even the eye. Inquire who is the subject which objectifies the subject. This subject is the seer. My master Ramana Maharshi said to me, God is not an object to be seen. He is the subject. He cannot be seen. He is the seer. Find the seer. My heart was opened. Find the seer. This is the teaching. Self is before even subject. So who will concentrate on what? The seer must be seen. Do not accept the dream as real. Wake up by not stirring a single thought for one moment. Even a thought will taint it because it is so immaculate and pure. Mind is the habit of objectifying, of projecting duality. Master the mind with vichar. Know, I am here, and let this go anywhere. This will stop the mind. If the mind troubles you, ask. If it doesn't, just stay quiet. When the mind is quiet, all is self. When mind moves, the world arises. So be still. Throw away everything and be free. Then when the mind is pure, you will see self in all beings. Give up seeing with the outer eye, and the divine eye will open. To still the mind, question the source of I. Look into what does not come or go and be that. The mind moves only because it is attached to something, so do away with what is dear to the mind. Withdraw from attachments and decide to return to awareness, being, bliss, by keeping quiet. When mind touches being, it becomes being. The concept of freedom removes the concept of bondage. Then use all your strength not to be called back by the concepts of old habits and dissolve into freedom itself. Stop thinking, for this is world process. Now is the gap in this, and this is freedom. Not thinking is to not activate the mind. Do not activate the mind for only one moment. Do not think. Freedom from thought is freedom. If thoughts come, let them come. If thoughts go, let them go. No notion of freedom is freedom. No intention of freedom is freedom. True inquiry is not thinking or activating your mind. If you must think, then only think of self. This is the nearest practice. This is staying in the ocean and letting the waves rise. The last and first thought of the waking state must be inquiry. Just stay quiet and see what happens. This seeing is being. When mind has to work, it will go to sleep. Don't do this. Sleep is a trap. Keep effortless attention on the pearl that you are diving for. The permanent answer, silence. The answer is at the end of the breath. Understanding is objectification. Uncover yourself by throwing away understanding. By trying or by understanding, you will not find the source, because all questions and answers rise from the ego. Find where the ego rises from, and it will disappear. Ego must be destroyed. Thinking must stop. Do it now. Aspire for the unexplainable, that beyond understanding, sight, and touch, by casting off the concept, I am not I am. Remove even the concept of concept. Vedanta, the end of knowledge, is to forget all, including words. Carrying around books is like a donkey carrying sutras. So many saints are illiterate. As the fire in a painting will not cook your tea, so intellectual understanding is not enough. Intellectual understanding is like reading a menu. True experience is like eating the food. All understanding is dried out boredom compared to the taste of that. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Only the ego-mind intellect hears these words. Do not let them interfere. Do not analyze what you have heard. When you think of emptiness, you are out of it. Speaking of freedom is only for the prisoner. One who is always free does not say it. This spoken freedom needs bondage to be free from. Inquire into yourself, and be free. This freedom you can't describe in words. The best description is in the eyes and walk of one drunk on the bliss of self. I want to be close to God. You speak about God like a schoolgirl reads something in a book. You are making God an interesting object and setting yourself up as the subject. God cannot be objectified. God is the subject itself. When you say simply, I am, the meaning of this is, I am God. If you know this, your personal identification is finished. In Sanskrit, this is Aham Brahmasmi, which means I am God, Brahman, Atman, myself. If you want to be close to God, stop objectifying God, for this is separation. Have the strength to know that I am God. So God is the seer of the illusion? Again, you have created a relationship between seer and seen. It seems like there is a big difference between self and ego, between reality and illusion. It is a creation of mind to say that this is reality and that is illusion. This is ego and that is the self. This is a creation of the mind. I had the experience that nothing exists. Suddenly I found myself in a black hole. What did you do with this experience? How long did it stay? Now, if you get this experience again, you will compare it with the previous one, and also you will lose it. If you have this experience, why do you want to analyze it? The mind comes up to understand, and you lose it. I tried to keep it. How can you keep the emptiness? How can you keep anything that never existed? How can you keep it? There is something wrong somewhere, you see. Mind and this experience do not go together. You have to give up the friendship of one. Choose what you want, God or mind. This you must decide before you sit in satsang. You must see that nothing ever existed, is the only experience. You were not here 40 years ago, nor will you be 50 years from now. What is before and after must also be now to be real. Be careful next time. Don't be washed away by the mind. There should be no difference in your mind and understanding between I am the illusion and I am Atman. Why do you want to understand? If there is nothing, how can you understand? If there is something, you can understand. You are working. I am very happy. It evaporates when I try to describe it. It is indescribable, and when you try to describe it, you forget what you have to describe. Do you have any other guidance for me? I will give you some homework. The question is, what is this all about? This you must give me a reply to. Do you understand the question? This? I don't know, but that is the question. I will be happy if you answer this. You are clever, but I will see how much your cleverness will help you in answering this question. Could you please make me believe in God? I don't understand God. I want to have faith in something. God can be understood by a person. Who will understand God? Who told you that you can understand God? You don't understand who you are, let alone who God is. First, understand yourself. Don't have faith in anything. You must trust what is already there. Faith is a word coined by the founders of religions. If you have faith, you will go to heaven, and if you don't, you will go to hell. Faith is not correct. Rather, you should find out how things are in reality. I ask you to find out who you are, and for this you don't need faith. Start from your dress, from your dupatta. I am not the dupatta. Then comes your suit, your watch, your ring. You are not these things. These belong to you, but you are not them. Know this. I am not the hair, I am not the glasses, I am not the nose. The nose belongs to me, but I am not the nose. This is reasonable understanding. You do not say, I am the nose. The skin belongs to me. If it is injured, it can be replaced by plastic surgery. I am not the blood. I am not the bones. I am not the marrow. I am not the liquids in the body. These I am not. What belongs to me, I am not. This house is mine. I am not the house. So what is left now? The owner of the house. What is left that is not a belonging but the owner? I am giving you the answer to your question. So what is left? I am not mind. I am not the body. I am not the senses. What is left? My soul. Ah, that is good, but even at that you have counted your soul as a belonging. My house, my car, my soul. No difference. Who are you to whom the soul belongs? It is not reasonable at all to say that the soul belongs to the body, the blood. What is a reasonable reply? You want to believe in God? I tell you, first of all, believe in yourself. That I am God. Then you will never fail. Believing in God is being God. Knowing God is being God. Understanding God is being God. Who can understand God except God Himself? If you understand God, it becomes your object, and who is the subject? God is the subject itself. God is not an object to be objectified. God is subject itself. So it is better that you become the object of God. Even then it will do. What problem is there if you say, I am God? This is the best trust and the best faith. Instead of having faith anywhere else, have faith in yourself that you are God. This is the biggest faith. Then you are normal. Otherwise you are abnormal or subnormal. I feel so badly because everybody else is getting it, but not me. Separation is suffering. You are feeling separate from others, so you suffer. This is all. You are hiding. You are not accepting what you are. You are total oneness with everything. You are everything itself. Give up your concept I am something else, and others are something else. They say that the self is centered in the navel. There can only be a center where there is a circumference, isn't it? What is the circumference if the center is at the navel? The body. Self is not conditioned. To say that it is centered in the navel is conditioning that which cannot be conditioned. There is no center. But if you are going to carry the concept that you are a body, then you can carry the concept that you are centered in the navel. The whole concept of centers in the body is to be used for objects of concentration. But I have not seen any results out of these centers. If you give up the notion that there is a center and circumference, then perhaps it will work. What is the center when there is no circumference? Nothing to be concentrated upon and no concentrator. Don't fix centers. This is just a trick of the mind. The center cannot be anything other than the mind cheating you out of freedom. You do not allow a thought to land anywhere, and you will see this. Don't let any thought abide anywhere. Then where will you go? Don't give time to these centers. I've seen so many people who have given 40 or 50 years to these centers, and the only result is tighter bondage. Since I was very small, I have had a strong desire to know God, and this desire has given me countless experiences of oneness with truth. There are not countless experiences of truth. For truth there is only one experience, and God cannot give you that experience. If you have an intense longing for God, this God will send you to church because God is only found in church. In truth, there is no God. Truth is truth, and God is your own creation. This is controversial, but God only lives in the church. Recently, I had the experience of no mind, but I know mind is tricky. When mind is not there, who is there to call it an experience? Knowing that mind is tricky is itself a trick of the mind. Wake up. My mind is so strong and clever. Will you help me? Why have you accepted your defeat that the mind is so strong? Why? It has to be your slave, not your master. As a slave, he is very obedient. But as your master or as your teacher, he is a butcher. Don't feel defeated by this man because you have not even seen him. How can you say he is strong? You have never seen him. Nobody has seen the mind. Therefore, this is only a ghost. You are haunted by a ghost. Those who say, I have a strong mind, or I am troubled by my mind, they are haunted by a ghost. There is only one psychotherapist here in satsang who will help you with your ghosts, and he will charge you $100 per hour. So to be haunted by ghosts is very costly. If you are conscious of the rising of the thought, it will not arise. Do you follow this? I will speak again and again. It is very important. When the thought is arising, look at it. Do this and tell me if you understand. All your life the thoughts are arising, so look at them and tell me what happens. Be vigilant. Invite the thoughts to come. Say, oh thought, I like you, I love you, and see what thoughts will come. No thought comes. So you know the secret of how no thought will come to you. I am very happy that you have come to Lucknow at such a young age. There must be a strong urge in you that made you come to satsang instead of the fish market. I will tell you a story. There was one fisherwoman who would fish in the river and then take the fish to the market to sell. So one evening there was a very bad storm, a cyclone, and she could not even walk with the basket of fish that was on her head. But there was one florist who was on the way, and so she said, My dear sister, you can stay here, and when the storm stops you can go. You can't walk now because the wind is at 100 miles per hour. So the fisherwoman came in. All around were flowers like rose and jasmine. When the night came, she could not sleep. She said to the florist, "I can't sleep because there is the bad smell of flowers all over your house. All these roses and jasmine are making my head ache. So, my dear sister, if you allow, I will bring my basket of fish here and use it as a pillow." So she did, and she instantly started snoring. So those who have lived with the garbage of their thoughts cannot sleep without thought. Every thought is a fish, which is enough to spoil the whole pond. Keeping one thought in your mind, you cannot be at peace. Therefore, do not allow any thought to stay in your mind. Then you will see the difference. Try it for only 1 second in your life. Not months or years, just 1 second. Do not allow any thought in your mind. Every word has power, you see. When I say I love you, it has power. When you abuse a man, it has power. A bad word hurts, and a good word like I love you changes a person. Words have tremendous power. I have been using the word fish and I'm starting to cough. This is the power of the word. I want to realize my God self, but I think there is a veil between me and that. The veil is this. You have some desire in your mind. You have a desire to arrive at a greater consciousness, and this is the veil between you and that. You have to be absolutely without desire and without thought. Desire is a thought. When you have a desire, you have a mind and an object of desire. But God is not the object. He is the subject. He is not the seen, arrived to, or reached. He is the seer. Don't try to see anything because God is not an object. All objects have beginnings and ends, but the greater consciousness does not. Just simply do not have any desire for anything for 1 second, and tell me where the greater consciousness is and where the lesser consciousness is. Now where is the veil? We create the veil by wanting this and that, but where there is no desire, God will come himself and sit in your heart. But if the chair in your heart is full of garbage of desires, where will he sit? God needs an absolutely pure seat. Only then will he come uninvited and take possession of it forever. Then whatever you do, it is God who is doing it. You don't need anything then. You must remove all name and form, and there will be no veil. When the veil is lifted, the only thing remaining is the compassion to lift the veils of others. This work is so allotted to one who has removed his veil. But one who has ego, how can he remove the ego of others? Do it now. You are in a human form and you have a desire. Those humans who do not aspire for liberation are just animals who have removed the tail. The true human is one who has removed the veil in this human life. Do not doubt it. You have done it. I feel there is a wall that keeps me from understanding the truth. I think that this veil is a wall made out of all the stuff I learned all my life. This wall is a notion, and if you demolish it, there will be no inside or outside. You are not to think because by thought you will not remove this notion. This notion is imagination only, and it does not exist. The snake never existed. It was always a rope. It is only due to your faulty vision that you call it a snake. This makes you responsible for your own creation. The rope did not create a snake. You created it. Find out what this notion is that has given you so much trouble. Just keep quiet and look at it, and it will no longer be there. Look at the notion that makes you unhappy. Just look at it. No effort is needed. Just look at the rise of the notion that gives you trouble. You have created this notion, and like the snake which never existed, this notion has never really existed. You are always well placed in peace, love, happiness, and bliss. This is your inherent nature. All the rest are notions that do not exist. So get rid of all these notions and intentions and ideations which have been dumped on you by your parents, priests, and society. So much garbage has been put on your head and on your heart, and you have been lost in all of it. Now repeat the same question. I don't know any question anymore. Excellent. I see from your face that everything has changed now. Excellent. This is your nature. Stay. Losing the revelation by attaining it. Only when you possess or attain something does the concept and fear of losing arise. Only self cannot be lost. If you have attained peace, mind will come back. Just let it come. Just watch where it arises. Allow the mind to run, but by directing it to now. Do not let it land in the graveyard of the past. Clinging to the past is keeping evil association. When you meditate, all these past patterns will leave you. The trick is to keep full attention on who wants to meditate, because when the house is full, the thieves will not enter. Don't expect and do not search, and you will find it. But if you again find what appears, you will have found the wrong thing, and you will definitely lose it, because what appears only to disappear. Don't try to suppress the thoughts and experiences which appear. Just keep alert and let them come. Inquiry stirs the serpents to arise. Keep alert, keep alert. The desire for the permanency of clarity is a trick of the mind, because permanency is in time and only postpones what is here and now. Find the source of this desire. If again is for a gain, it is useless. This losing starts from the ego wanting to be the doer and wanting to proudly own freedom. If you say from the ego point of view, I am doing, there must be some interest and you already want some reward for it. You decide that something is beautiful, and so you go near that object which is attracting you, and then you want to possess it. You want to own it. As soon as you possess it, you have a fear of losing it, because where there are two, there is always fear. This is because in duality, there is always a fear of separation. When fear arises, anger arises. With anger there is confusion, lack of understanding, and lack of discrimination. When you cannot decide things properly, it is total destruction. Everyone is beautiful, but when you grip a begging bowl in your hand, you lose it. Don't try to possess blissful states, so get rid of your pocket. Original nature is emptiness, and this is peace. Let things come and enjoy them, but do not try to own them. Don't worry. Love cannot be lost. How do people lose it? By getting it. Anything that you get is not yourself. And so if you lose something, it means that it was not your true self, and is better off being lost. Self cannot be lost because it is what you are. There are not two, one of which can be lost, and the other one being that which has lost it. The truth is what you are. All that can be lost is that which obscures it, perishable things like doubts and thoughts and objects. When people say, we got it, a misunderstanding is all that they have gotten. Then soon, of course, they will say that they have lost it. People who think that they may lose it have only understood it, and any understanding is a misunderstanding. Nature cannot be lost. Yourself cannot be lost. It simply is, and is not what can come or go. It is not achieving or attaining anything. It is knowing yourself as you are. Before, you did not know who you are, and you wanted to abide in things which are not permanent and which will not stay. The notion of losing it comes from the mind. Therefore, when you try to get something, you are liable to lose it. So do not achieve anything. Just get rid of all the notions that have been dumped on you for lifetimes. When you get rid of this notion, even for a second, you will know, because then you reveal yourself to the truth, and the truth will reveal itself to you. This is just being, just presence. When I come back to the connection with the self, it is the most beautiful space. So why is it that I choose to come out of this and create a new theater with a new film playing? When you decide to stay alone in beauty, when the ocean has no waves, you are enjoying waveless fullness. And when this ocean decides to play, this notion of play arises in the form of waves. This film that you speak of are these waves. The ocean knows that it is ocean, and that these are its waves dancing on it. It is not at all disturbed by these waves. Rather, it enjoys the waves very much. Your question then is, what is the difference between the waveless ocean and an ocean with waves? This question is a wave, an ocean, not an ocean. It is a notion from the wave side. This question of separation belongs only to a wave. The ocean could never ask this. This notion is just like the notion of the wave that is separate from the ocean, that you as a being are separate from being. As a wave, we think that we have height, length, breadth, and movement. But these are all notions. Separation is a notion. The wave who wants to end this separation starts to look for the ocean. Waves look for the ocean. But how can the ocean decide to become a wave? It is fullness. The ocean is fullness. When it decides to play, this decision is waves. This is consciousness. Whatever it thinks, it is still consciousness. It can never be other than consciousness. The game of differences and separation is the same as if there was no game. It is not changed. Ocean is ocean with or without waves. Consciousness is consciousness, and is empty with or without manifestation. There is no change at all from the viewpoint of emptiness or consciousness, from the viewpoint of awakening. When you know you are that, you have no differences. You are not separate from what is going on. This cannot be lost. All manifestation from the beginning to the middle to the end are ways within you, within your own self, and are not apart from yourself. Reject the disturbance which is only the notion of separation. Be totality, not this and not that. When you decide to do this, it will happen immediately. Even if you do not decide this, everything still is you only. Your question amounts to, if I am all this, then why all that? Just do not touch this. If I get rid of this and that, then I am in the space of nothingness. Who can disturb this nothingness? What will become of that which enters this nothingness? How to stay in the ocean? Don't use the concept how. How is only a wave. Without how, there is only staying in the ocean. It is the how that troubles people, and whatever you think the answer to be, you become instantly. It is better just to remove the question, because whatever you think, you become. If you think you are free, you are. And if you think you are suffering, you are. This is the beauty of consciousness. Think, and it becomes. Whatever you think will arise as you think it, and it is still consciousness. Because it is consciousness, it doesn't need to take any material from the outside. It is consciousness, and all within it is consciousness. Consciousness is so full. Anything it desires instantly comes into being as being. So if you want to be free, you can instantly be free. This thought of freedom, this notion, is just to remove the notion of bondage. To be free, just entertain the notion of freedom. Then both notions will be finished. Neither notion exists. You are as you are and have never changed. With freedom, get rid of the notion that you are this body and mind. Everything will dance. This is called freedom. That one who has tasted freedom dances. I lost it and did not retain it for 6 months, and I do not know how to get it back. But why again? If you get it again, you are after something temporary, and you will lose it again. It is not like eating food where you need more after just a little while. But if you have just one drop of nectar, you will not need any more food for the rest of your life. This is that glance. A millionth part of a second is enough. But if you want to retain it, do not desire to hold it, for it cannot be held. Don't desire to keep it, and don't desire to have it come back again. Simply be it. Don't think that it will run away, because it cannot run away. It will not disappear. It is you who will disappear when you allow an open heart to it and let it stay with you. You disappear. What happens to the moth when it goes to the flame? It is gone. So touch this flame in your heart. Why is it that so many seekers come and experience this state in Lucknow, and then it drops away when they return to the West? It can never happen. It can never happen. How can one who has realized himself forget it? It is not possible. It is not true. As a river which discharges into the ocean cannot return as a river in name and form, it is finished. So when you discharge your mind into its source, mind no longer is a mind. It is that itself. It cannot become a mind. It is now called no mind. Be clear with this. Many people say that when they return to the West that they lose it. I don't believe this. They did not get it, and only then can they lose it. But if your hand is empty, there is no gain or loss. If you have not gained anything, you cannot lose anything. So you have to empty your mind of all desires. Once emptied, it cannot be refilled. They think that they got something new in Lucknow that they did not have before. Therefore, they are bound to lose it. I tell them that they are not to gain or lose anything, but to understand that you are already free and enlightened. If you are already enlightened, you are already enlightened in Moscow, Washington, or Lucknow. How can you lose anything anywhere? This I speak about. Don't try to gain anything, but rather lose all the gains you have so far made. Leave behind you all that you have read and heard about. What is left will reveal that it is your own self, and when you know this, you cannot lose it. So any gain will be lost, and what you have not gained, you will not lose. If your pocket is empty in Lucknow, it will also be empty in New York. So always keep your pockets empty. With empty hands, everything will come. If you are always holding something, you have no capacity to hold any more. So empty your hands, and again all will be replaced. So it is the empty mind who is the emperor of the universe. Empty mind and hand mean having no thought, and a man with no thought is the king of the kingdom. You can try. Empty your mind of everything and feel who you are. This is called peace, also enlightenment, also freedom. But don't keep anything in your mind. I had a vision a few days ago of Ramana climbing a ladder and then smiling at me compassionately as if saying, "Come up with me. Is this a diamond that I have treated as a pebble?" Yes, it is a diamond that you have thrown away. But it doesn't matter because you have seen what it looks like, and next time you will keep it in your bosom. It is rare to get a diamond, and to throw it away is bad luck. But it is always available, and so you must use the same practice by which you attain this diamond, not thinking anything about this diamond, not wanting this diamond. Then the teacher will call you and say, "Here is the diamond. That is the grace of the teacher." My mind feels unworthy, mainly because it feels that it has not taken care of the revelation which has unfolded. Is this unworthiness, or is it just the way things unfold? It is unworthiness. If someone comes to stay as a guest at your house, but you push them out, what is it? If a married woman goes and sleeps with other men, what do you call this? She is not a worthy woman but a prostitute. So if you do not take care of yourself, you are a prostitute to something else. You are not a yogi. You are a bogey. May I leave this unworthiness with you? You can do whatever you want. In this place, I advise the yogi, not the bogey. There are 6 billion bogies in the world today, but very few yogis. I want to be a yogi, and I experience silence, but then I returns. Let the I come. She has to live with you. She is a good woman. But how do I find permanent self-awareness? I don't want the I. Find the questioner of this question, and you will find the answer to this and to all questions. Find where the question arises from, and you will find the answer. Stay there and know who you are. This silence will be your reply. You will find there is no questioner. You will find questions, but you will not find a questioner. Only happiness. I feel that I have found this, but I am so forgetful. I like the way of forgetfulness. Whatever comes, forget it. Don't listen to anyone. Forget all the world, including your mind, body, and relations, and world. Kabir also says this. Don't care about what you can remember and what can be forgotten. These things have nothing to do with who you are. I saw an oceanic vision when I was last with you, but then I lost it. Only one person can sit in a chair. Something settled in your heart, but now you miss it. It is because something else is occupying the same place, and two things cannot be in the same place at the same time. Either you have peace or you have disturbance. But I did try to lead the thoughts back to their source. This is quite good. This will take you to the place which has no depth and no shallowness. This is your ultimate home, which you must return to in order to be peaceful and eternal bliss itself. After I left you last, I slowly lost contact with self while in Germany. If you lose what you have gained, you are being pulled to something else. Otherwise, you would stay in happiness. You are more attracted to something else and not your own self. The mind goes to where it is happy, and in your case, it is going to temporary happiness and pleasures. It can only be permanently happy by staying in the self. If your mind is going out to a place which is causing you to suffer, Incessantly tell it not to, and she'll understand someday. Don't get lost, and don't be worried about it. Just make the decision that you will be free in this lifetime. It is quite enough. I experienced such a blessed, blissful state, but fear of losing it crept in. The beloved will not leave you, even if you see this beauty for only a second. It is the mind which carries this fear and tension, but it is not true. Don't worry, it will have a permanent hold on you. You think that you have lost it, but it is not lost. If you have this glimpse for only one moment, it is finished. But if you put your attachments over it, then you can't see it, even though it is still there. Self is always present. Bliss is always present. You are not to work at attaining it. Just remove the obstacles by which you can't see it. The hindrance is only one: attachment to the past. If you do not attach yourself to any thought of the past, it is already there. And this is called experience, you see. Experience of that is when there are no obstacles, no hindrances, no attachments. So try again. I did, but again it disappeared. Let it disappear. You had a glimpse, and you remembered it. This will still work. Always remember this glance which disappeared. If you know this consciousness disappeared, what is this disappearance? Is it not appearance in your mind of something that has disappeared? So this one glimpse cannot disappear and is quite enough. When you go to the pleasure garden and you see a girl and then she disappears, you carry this disappearance in your mind. Even when you sleep, you carry this girl in your mind, and so she is with you. In the same way, it does not make any difference. Fear is of losing what you get and wanting to keep it with you. Suppose you had $5,000 in your pocket and you are walking in the forest. There is fear. But if your pockets are empty, you are not afraid because you have nothing to be taken. It is best not to desire anything which can be lost, because having it will cause fear in your mind. Stop chasing after what appears and disappears, and you will find that which will give you permanent satisfaction and joy. What neither appears or disappears is eternal, and this is available here and now without any trial. How will the silent mind come? It will come if you don't allow the mind to hold anything which appears and disappears. Find out where mind goes and guide it to its source. This source is the source of happiness, and here it will not get a constant beating. But even when the mind is battled, you feel you are battled. It is not so. Don't allow the mind to go out, and don't allow even the desire to go out. Do this by knowing that the source within is a priceless diamond. Very few people know the value of this diamond that they are.